Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special mini-sode of the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hello.
And we are the Wine Pair. So if you're new to the Wine Pair Podcast, these mini-sodes are just shorter versions of the regular podcast that we put on during weeks where we might be doing stuff like traveling or dealing with life.
Snacky snacks.
That's right. And instead of tasting and reviewing 2 to 3 wines under $25 each that are easy to find, which is what we usually do in our longer episodes, in these mini-sodes, we focus on things like wine etiquette, wine education, and wine tips. And our goal is to make it fun and understandable to regular, everyday people just like us.
Perfect.
And our podcast is recommended by Decanter Magazine.
Woo!
I just have to always put that in there.
I know. Wow.
Now, in our podcast episodes, we always give information about the alcohol content in the wines we are drinking when we go into the tasting section.
Right.
Because we care about it.
We do.
Why do we care about it?
Because we don't want to get totally knockered.
That's right. Schnockered, knockered, and walkered.
Knockered. Okay. I don't know. We just have, and it does impact the taste, like you're saying.
You are so right. We know that alcohol impacts us physically in terms of what the alcohol does to our body and our brain.
True.
But did you know that alcohol plays an important part in the tasting experience of the wine?
Yes.
You would say yes because you just said it.
Well, and because I've tasted a lot of wine.
We have. Now, it may seem obvious at first, but we're going to dig into just why alcohol is so important in wine beyond just making us feel buzzed.
Oh, okay. This is a good one.
Yeah. So thanks. I'm glad you like it. So first, alcohol content in wine, also called ABV or alcohol by volume, is the percentage of ethanol in wine. And it typically ranges between about 10% and 15% or so in most wines you run into. But you can definitely find lower and higher alcohol wines. There's a push towards some lower alcohol wines recently. And some people prefer wines with more alcohol and some prefer it with less, right? Everybody to each their own. To each their own.
And some like it with none.
This is true. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But does alcohol content matter, Carmela?
I think so. Absolutely.
It does. And we'll dive into it, but it doesn't take long to find out that alcohol has a big impact on things like the body of a wine, the balance of a wine, and even the taste and aromas of a wine. So let's start with the body.
Okay.
My body. No, let's start with a body. Let's start with body.
Whose body?
Anybody. No, wine body.
Okay.
Alcohol is one of the primary contributors to body in wine, along with sugar and tannin. The reason why alcohol affects a wine's body is that alcohol gives it viscosity. Viscosity.
Oh, that's a big word, Joe.
Yeah, it's kind of like thickness, right? That's because it's denser than water. Alcohol is denser than water, and it coats your mouth differently, which creates a sensation of weight.
Why don't you need to shake a bottle of wine then?
I don't know where that even came from.
I don't know, because if it falls to the bottom,
Okay.
I'm just talking.
You
can get rid of it.
Well, I will actually say that if you're trying to de-alcoholize a wine, sometimes you do spin it. They will spin it to separate the lighter liquid from the
so
alcohol.
I'm not that off.
No, you're not. Now, more alcohol means a heavier, fuller body, like the difference between skim milk and whole milk.
Okay.
So that's a little thing you can keep with your head. The next is balance, which may seem like kind of esoteric or kind of nerdy. You might lose your balance.
Too much alcohol.
No, we're talking about balance in the wine, not your sense of balance.
I get it.
In a well-made wine, alcohol should be in balance with other aspects like acidity, tannin, and residual sugar. So this actually has less to do with the absolute amount of alcohol in the wine than it does with how the alcohol in the wine is in balance with the rest of these things.
Okay.
A wine with too much alcohol in relation to these other elements can taste hot,
right,
or boozy. We say that sometimes, like this wine tastes or smells hot. That means it's out of balance.
Right.
There's too much alcohol for the rest of the stuff.
You don't want that. You don't necessarily want a wine that smells very alcoholic.
No, you don't. So that's too much alcohol. But you can have the flip too. So a wine with too little alcohol in relation to these other elements can feel flat or insipid or thin and lacking depth. And it can also overamp things like tannins and acid. So you get more of that flavor than you do anything else.
Right.
So it's out of balance. The next thing is alcohol's impact on aroma. And this is important because it's really the alcohol that carries aromas. So think about, you're a baker, Carmela, think about extracts in baking. They use alcohol because alcohol carries the aromas and the flavors. And so when you have the right amount of alcohol, it helps to lift and release the wine's aromatics.
Cool.
So too little alcohol and a wine will lack aroma or won't have the same depth of aroma. And too much alcohol and it will overpower the aromas. It will almost give it, sometimes, again, we say hot, but sometimes it can almost smell like nail polish or it smells alcohol-y.
rubbing alcohol,
Exactly. And you get that every once in a while. And that means there's just too much. There's too much alcohol in the wine. And then similar to aroma, alcohol impacts taste. Remember, aromas have a big impact on flavor or how we taste, but alcohol also creates sensations of sweetness and warmth. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Wines too high in alcohol can feel surprisingly sweet. This is also why wines that are dry, meaning little to no residual sugar, but with alcohol in them, can still taste sweet, right? So we get this sweetness, even though there's no residual sugar, the alcohol helps to bring out this sweeter sensation. And then wines too low in alcohol can seem sour or tart or hollow or bland. They just kind of meh. They don't taste that great. So back to one of the things you mentioned about separating alcohol and the rest of the juice, if you really want to experience what we mean, try a de-alcoholized wine because alcohol has such a big impact on body and flavors. You'll probably notice that a de-alcoholized wine feels thinner.
Right.
It's less aromatic. It can come across as like thin or lacking depth or flat. And that's why it's really hard to find a good de-alcoholized wine. It's just, it's harder than beer.
It's the same experience.
It's true. And
it's okay.
Yeah. And so, but I will say that a non-alcoholic beer very often tastes better because it also compared to the amount of alcohol in a beer versus the amount of alcohol in a wine by volume, it's a different sensation. Getting the right balance of alcohol in wine is hard, and that's why winemakers really focus on it. So things like the ripeness of the grapes, the kinds of yeast used, how long the wine is fermented, the temperature the wine is fermented at, these all impact the alcohol level. Like some yeast can live longer than others in higher alcohol, and warmer climates and longer growing season makes grapes with more sugar, and so the winemaker has to really carefully discern where to grow the grapes, when to pick them, and how they want to ferment them. It's tricky. It's tricky to rock or rhyme.
Wow.
That's
and
right,
that too.
on time.
That's hard too. Yes.
So now maybe you have a little bit more appreciation for alcohol and wine that goes beyond getting lit.
Oh, wow.
Or getting
I like that
drunk.
part too.
True. Alcohol is not just a byproduct of wine, Carmela. It is
part of the experience.
The wine drinking experience.
Okay.
There you go. Now, if you want to see the sources for our content today and get the links to learn more, you can come to our website, look for this minisode, and open up the show notes. It's true, Carmela. We have show notes.
Buddy, I know.
Okay, buddy. I'm in trouble when she uses the B term.
Not that I've been on the website anytime recently, but yes, I know we have show notes.
Thank you.
And they are thorough. I know that much.
They are thorough as well. Okay, you can also check out our other minisodes or our regular sized episodes on our website or your favorite podcast app. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast or on Blue Sky. You can visit our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And in any of those places, you can reach out to us directly and you can send us an email at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And if you visit our website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter, which we send out at the beginning of every month. And you can also shop for our top rated wines on the website as well as great accessories.
Amazing.
But with that, all we do is we ask you this. Follow, subscribe, give us a really nice rating and review as a free way to support us. That's right. Have a great day. And we'll see you soon. And remember, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.